Okie dokie. And as you would have seen on your screen there just before, as we worked out those kinks, sorry, Phil, was just the small cap ETFs that we were following. But it's great to have you on today, Phil. You've got a few stock ideas for us in the small cap space. Why don't you start us off with the first one?
Sure, look, there's a couple of stocks that I like. I mean, days like today can make people nervous, but two stocks that have delivered good returns this calendar year so far. One of them is Austin Engineering. It's an engineering products manufacturing company, so it supplies companies products to the mining services industry. So picture a dump truck. Dump truck carries a lot of payload to and from the mines. A lot of the rock that gets carried by the truck hits the tray. The dump truck might last about 10 years, but the tray wears out because it bears all the brunt from the pressure from the rocks hitting it. So that needs to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. Commodity prices have been volatile, but they've generally been pretty strong. Production has been strong globally, and that's enabled Austin to grow its revenue over the past few years. The commodities they're exposed to primarily iron ore out of Western Australia, which we know that's been going well. Coal, which has been holding up okay in North America, and copper, which although it's been volatile, copper production volumes have been doing strongly in South America. New managing director has been in the role for a little over 12 months now. He's done a great job in getting the North and South American operations back to profitability, back to growth, and that's been reflected in the share price. They announced a pretty good acquisition in a company called Maintech Proprietary Limited about a month ago, which supplies a different type of mining equipment called a bucket. So think about a ground engaging tool, the stuff that digs up the dirt again, stuff that wears out as mining production continues and needs to be replaced. The bucket size is about 31 buckets in Australia, but Austin can get access to a market 10 times the size in North and South America markets they already operate in. So that's a pretty good growth option for them over the next 2 or 3 years. So these are all some of the reasons why the share price has performed okay, and it's 7 times PE. Stock's not expensive, and despite volatile equity markets, Austin's got a good growth outlook for the next 18 months to 2 years. So we think that's worth a look.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so Austin Engineering, the first one that we're looking at as a good small cap play potentially. Another one that we're going to take a little bit of a gaze and a gander at is Sigma Healthcare. Some developments over the last few days in the healthcare space has been reasonably interesting, but you're pretty positive on the healthcare on Sigma Healthcare as a name. What's the rationale and the thesis there?
So we like Sigma. We do think it's now fair value at around 65-66 cents, but Sigma's sort of gone through the ringer. It supplies pharmaceutical products to pharmacies, so its own brands include Amcal and discount department stores, and it also supplies a brand that many people have heard of in Chemist Warehouse with fast-moving consumer goods for their stores. So its revenue is about $3.5 billion per annum. The pharmacy space obviously sells a lot of cold and flu products during winter. For 2 years of COVID, people working from home, we didn't really have a cold and flu season. And with people working from home, a lot of the city stores didn't do well. That's all now coming through the other side. So we've got volumes returning to normal. New managing director started in February. He's doing a lot of good things in terms of getting costs out, getting revenue growing again after a period of decline. I mean, it fell 7%, so I think that's now largely reflected in the share price. And healthcare is a stable earnings segment. It's not impacted as much by interest rate rises or fuller unemployment. If you're sick, you go to the pharmacy and get your prescription. So we like pharmacy as a good defensive space, and Sigma has actually done well in the last 3 or 4 months. So we actually now think it's fair value. We don't think it'll fall, but we think people are now starting to wake up to the fact that Sigma is actually in a good position and has a good 2 to 3 year outlook.